Morning, guys. As you can see, it's pretty early day. It's still dark out. It's about 5:45 right now. I'm headed out to Willis Creek again, do some fishing. I'm going to probably stop and get some food, and then I have about like a 20-minute drive over there, 15-20 minutes. So I'm hoping that'll put me kind of there right at sunrise. So stay tuned. Hopefully it's another good day of fishing, but we'll see you once we kind of get over in that area.
Good morning, how may I help you?
Hi, can I get the number 5 combo with a large Diet Coke? All right, we're getting closer. You can see it on the navigation there. That's the water that we're headed to. Probably still got about 10 minutes of driving because there's basically another road that I turn on off the main road here and drive down the dirt for, I don't know, 2-3 miles. But we're coming up on that turn now, and it's getting light out, so I think we timed it about perfectly. I didn't really want to get out here in the dark like last time, so far everything's going to plan. We'll see you when we get to the spot. All right, we're on the dirt road now. Just got about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. We're gonna get over there and start fishing. This is kind of, you can see where the little red arrow with the circle around it. We're on this is the TR-145, and it parallels the creek pretty much the whole time. It does go away from it for a little bit, but for the most part, this gives you access to the creek the whole way. But we got a little special spot that we're headed to. We'll see you when we're there. Just wanted to put in a little side note that if you've seen a couple of our other videos, this road was actually at one point completely flooded. We had a little bit of a flooding here in Coshocton, and I couldn't access this spot at all to fish it. So I'm a little concerned about just the creek in general, where I'm going, because I know sometimes when it floods, it can totally alter the surrounding area completely. So we're gonna make sure that it still looks like a good place to fish, and I know the water's down enough to get to it, so I'm just hoping that all the conditions are good, because creeks and rivers, they can change. But we're gonna find out here in a few minutes. We are really close to the spot that I'm gonna be fishing. I'm just hoping that there's nobody else there, because it's kind of a one man type of situation. I mean, you can have other people fishing there, but only one car really fits in the spot. We're looking good. We're gonna be pulling in right down there. Probably hard to see, but give me a couple minutes, I'll get us backed in. We have arrived. Yeah, look at that orange through the trees. That's crazy. The conditions look pretty similar to when I was catching all the fish here last time. It's about, I would say the water's about the same level, maybe a little bit higher, but it's definitely down to a fishable level, I would say. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I also keep seeing this bug over here flying around, and I think it's a tarantula hawk. If it is, that is not a bug to be messed with. So I'm going to kind of give him some space. But I brought an absolute arsenal today. I brought pretty much, not all my rods, but as far as versatility goes, a rod for everything. So we got the old bass rod here. This is my little bit heavier bait caster setup. Today I got it rigged up with a swim bait. We're gonna throw that around a little bit. I actually brought the heavy duty Catfish setup. I do have some trunks of bluegill that I'm going to be trying. Haven't tried bluegill here. I've only thrown nightcrawlers, so I want to give that a try. Then I got my favorite rod here. This is my go-to rod for just about everything. I have this set up for nightcrawler, standard little hook, a couple split shots. We'll see if that's enough weight to keep it on the bottom. And then, of course, I got my little light set up. I use this typically for crappie. It's got a crappie jig tied on already. And we might throw this around a little bit too, just to see if there's any other little game fish in here today. But, yeah, we're going to get to fishing here. So the first one we're going to get out this morning is going to be the little bit heavier Catfish setup. I have this set up like Carolina rig style. It's got the sliding weight on the main line to a swivel, and then just a little bit of a leader down to just like a bait holder hook. And we're going to be putting some bluegill on this one. Get a nice little chunk of it there. I always like to just kind of barely hook the bait. That way hookup ratio is a little bit better. Once you go through the skin, it's typically on there. You don't really have to get a whole lot of the bait hooked. The idea I had was right out here is where I was catching all the fish. But I believe that there's going to be fish just about everywhere. So I think I'm going to throw this actually down creek a little bit and give that a shot. It is still very deep, which is good. Okay. Now that we got this one set up, I do gotta find a stick or something for a pole holder. Okay, so I ended up pulling this stick actually out of this little fire pit that somebody had. And it's a perfect little rod holder. So we're gonna kind of just keep an eye on this one, and I want to get the nightcrawler out because that's the one that I was having all the success on. In the meantime, I'm gonna get a rod holder set up for that one too. Looks like this will be about perfect. Yep. I think we'll just put it right there. So this here, got some night crawlers. We're we're just gonna, these nightcrawlers are kind of old, so I'm gonna probably be using either whole ones or half of ones, just to, I kind of need to go through them. If I keep just getting short bit, I'll change it up, put a smaller piece, but I'm kind of after big fish today anyways. But there we go, let's throw it in. Okay, so we are actively fishing bait now. The legal limit for lines in the water in Ohio is 3, so I'm gonna have 2 bait rods out, and I'm gonna be throwing a lure, whether it's the swim bait or the little crappie jig. Either way, I'm still within the legal limit. If it gets a little too hectic, I might just run 1 bait rod, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know what the heck these freaking bugs are that are flying around, man, but they are gnarly looking. Oh, I think it's a moth. Here. See that little guy? In the dark, it looks like a giant bee, and I wasn't about it, but we should be okay. I don't really want to take my eyes off of these rods just because of how fast action it was before, but I do want to throw a lure around too. So I think we're going to grab the other rod and start casting around a bit. I'm going to start out with the crappie jig. There's already been like a ton of action on the surface, so there's something out here that is other than a catfish. I just need to figure out what it is. Oh, I bit on my bait rod. Let's see. This one had the bluegill on it. Got it, whatever it is. That didn't take long. Doesn't feel big, but we are already hooked up. We got little guy. He's not tiny, but little channel catfish right off the gate. Definitely big enough to keep. Well, we got one. Let's see. Yeah, literally hook broke right in half. We're gonna tie another one of those on. Man, the bluegill got bit before the crawler. That's crazy. I don't know if you can see that, but something just came to the surface, literally right there. It's got to be like bluegill or crappie or something. Maybe they're eating bugs. I don't know. We're gonna get another piece of bait on there and get right back out. Just like that. Right back out there, since it worked so well. Right over there. Perfect. All right. Let's see how stuck my lure is now. It's stuck. Kind of figured that would happen. I kind of just threw it down when I was getting the bite, and it's not exactly ideal. Try the little trick. Nope. We may have lost one here already. Oh, no. I actually think I got it. Not bad. Make sure it didn't bend anything. No, it looks fine. We'll just keep throwing it around. If anybody watching has fish Wolf Creek or still actively does, I would love to know what else you've caught in here. So far, the only species I've caught out of here is channel cats by the hundreds and 1 or 2 tiny little crappie. Like they were probably 6 inches long. But I'd love to think that there's definitely other stuff in here. I just don't know what exactly. Man, you think like I never fished before. I literally just hooked a tree, yanked it out of the tree, and came back and hooked my own rod. There we go. It wasn't that bad. It's supposed to get in the low to mid 80s today. We'll see what that feels like just sitting here with no wind. Could be a little bit toasty, but we'll definitely be here for a few hours. Probably won't be that temp until like 1, 2 o'clock anyways, so by then I probably will be all fished out. Really surprised I haven't seen any action on the nightcrawler. It is down creek quite a bit, but that could just be because it's moving with the creek. I'm gonna check this one, see what's going on with it. No, seems fine. I think it was sitting on bottom. Yeah, probably. Interesting. Well, let's get it back out there and see. Maybe I'm just spoiled from last time where I'm expecting a bite every 12 seconds. Or maybe bluegill's going to be the ticket today. I don't know. By the way, always check your regulations. Using bluegill is 100% legal here in Ohio. I know where I used to live, it definitely was not legal, so be advised that it's not legal in all areas. Actually, bluegill in statewide regulation and most like private regulation areas, bluegill is completely unregulated, meaning no size limit, no catch limit. So that's most likely why it's legal to use for bait. Oh, I hooked somebody else's line. Lovely. Looks like it's braid. Guess we'll go ahead and get this out of the water for them. And whatever this is, it was way the heck out there. Yeah, they're splashing everywhere. I think they're just doing it to piss me off at this point. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Fuck. Well, 2 things happened. Number 1, I about lost my favorite rod into the water. And number 2, whatever that was not small. But I did in fact lose it. Man, I literally had just been looking over here, turned around to cast out over this way, and when I turned back around, my pole immediately hit the ground. Okay. I'm very glad I didn't lose my rod. That would have been not a good day for me. I love this rod. I guess we're gonna get rebaited and get back out there, and I'm gonna have to figure something out because that was not good. I think what I might do is try to get that stick. Maybe I can find a different one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look around and see. Usually when I'm fishing for catfish, I would just leave the bail open and wash the line, but can't exactly do that in a creek because it's just keep pulling line. About right there. I do kind of want to check this one, because it definitely got bumped. Didn't look like a big bite, but could be sitting with it. Never know. Nope. Okay. We still have bait. So, bring it back out there. This stick, because it's so big, it doesn't run the same risk of getting pulled in. That other one, when it got bit, it literally flattened that stick to the ground. That's why the rod almost went in the water. Kind of just throwing it out, letting it sink and slow rolling it toward the bottom. I'm gonna do a depth check right here and just see. Give myself a backlash in the meantime. Let's see. So there's bottom. That's probably 12, 15 feet deep, literally right here in front of my feet. So more than likely, there's fish right here. Went ahead and reeled in my nightcrawler rod. Another full crawler on there. See if we can't get that big bite again. Yeah, these crawlers are on their way out for sure. They do not feel the greatest, but they'll still work. I'm gonna try a cast a little bit up creek a little bit and see. Still fairly deep up there, so I don't see why there wouldn't be fish. And this time I did not wear my jacket that I usually use for work, so I'm in the clear. I would love to hook into like a 10-pounder or something. That'd be epic. I'm pretty sure it was on the last time I was recording, but I officially broke off the swim bait in a tree, so now both of my lure rods are just kind of sitting. I don't have anything tied on. I'll probably end up putting something back on, but for now, I think I'm just going to hang out and kind of really pay attention to these bait rods. You just saw me put a new night crawler on this one here. The larger one with the piece of bluegill, I reeled it in and I actually just kind of pitched it, I don't know, maybe 10-15 feet off of the rocks here, because I mean it's so deep right there, so there definitely could be fish. I'm just trying to get an idea of where the fish are holding. Last time I was catching them really good, they were basically about halfway between here and that other side over there. But that's where I've had the crawler pretty much all morning, and it has some action, but definitely not the action that it was having. So I'm just kind of trying different things. I mean, with that high water, the holes could have changed a little bit. It might not be the same as it was in that area. So I figure I just move my baits around a little bit and see if I can't find another hole, or, you know, just another spot where fish are holding. But I'll get back with you guys when something cool happens. While I'm waiting for a bite, I'm going to go take care of all that braided line and get the mess cleaned up. I always try to, I mean, you know, I don't want to spend my whole day picking up trash, but if I come across stuff like this, I try to pick it up, get it out of the way. I wish other people had the same common courtesy, but they don't. This is hooked on a rock over here somehow. I don't really know how it got hooked the way that it did, but I also don't want to fall in the creek. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it right here. Oh, there we go. Popped off. Perfect. So I'll take this over to the car and see what kind of madness this person had going on with this. This is some serious gear. So first off, they had a freaking 2-ounce sinker on here. That's impressive. I guess we'll save that for the next time we're ocean fishing. And then check out this guy. I mean, that's a wire leader to a gigantic circle hook. I don't know. Maybe whoever this was knows something that I don't, but this seems like it's a little bit overkill in my opinion for out here, but I could be wrong. We're just going to go ahead and chop it off the braid. There we go. So we got all the braided line. Just going to throw it in here. I'll throw it away at home. Then you got this guy. The old wired leader down to this Mondo hook. I don't know if I'd ever use anything like this, but I guess it's better here than in the water. So I was going through my tackle box and just kind of looking at my lures, seeing what I have. I don't really carry all my gear on me anymore just because it's so much stuff. So I don't have a huge selection of lures with me currently, but I do have an old Panther Martin. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that on and throw it around a little bit. It just looks like this. Little blade bait. I mean, it's primarily like a trout lure, but just about anything would bite it. Could catch crappie on it, bass. I would assume walleye and stuff would hit it. But we're gonna just throw it around for a little bit, see if I can get anything on a flashy bait. I am a little surprised about the bite. It's I mean, don't get me wrong, I have got some bites, but it's not as It's not as hot as it was. I don't know, it's probably been about a month now since when I was catching all the fish. But I'm almost wondering if when I was getting bit a ton, it was like pre-spawn for them. And now they're kind of more of in a spawn, so they're not as active. It could be what it is. It could be with that really high water and stuff, it could have pushed them out of this area. I don't know. These are all just hypothetical situations. I really don't know. All these fish jumping around on the surface are getting on my nerves, though. I just want to know what they are. Oh, 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 oh. I threw you guys on the ground. I hooked something massive. This is a big fish. Big. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. He's not as big as I was thinking, but he's pretty big. I'd say it's easily a 5-pounder, maybe bigger. He finally, oh yeah, there he goes. Finally figured out he was hooked. Yep, that's a good one. Come on, bud. Get up here. Now, I gotta try to work him over to the lower side of the bank over here. I'm not gonna lie, I almost lost this rod just now. I gotta figure out. Oh, that's a good one. He's probably bigger than 5. It's probably close to a 6 or a 7. Big old tail on this guy. Big fish on the bluegill. No surprise there, really. I can't tell if it's a channel or it could be a blue. Haven't really. Nope, it's just a big ass channel. That is a big channel catfish. I'm gonna just kind of slowly work him over to. I'm trying to get over here, but I kind of have to go underneath this rod, which should be okay. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a big old channel cat. I don't know if you guys have really seen them that well yet, but it's a big one. It's a very big fish. And I know these things can get 10, 15, 20 pounds, but when you're fishing in a creek with this is my little bit bigger setup, but it's not like a big catfish setup. So catching something this big is pretty awesome. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Don't think I want to do that. It's a lot heavier than I was expecting it to be. I think what I'm going to do is just kind of kneel down here and... Oh, it's nice and muddy here. That's good. That is a big fish. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. All right. Ow. He just destroyed my finger. But that's okay. All right. This is kind of the issue I thought I was going to have here if I caught a big fish, is it's really not easy to land them. Yeah, you got me pretty good. But Well, we got him. That, boys and girls, is a good one. All right. Gonna get over here. Oh yeah. When I catch something this big, I'm just gonna cut the line. I can always retie a hook. For something this big, I'm gonna have to all right. I gotta lay him down for a second. I don't think the camera's doing this thing justice, but it's massive. Actually, I got an idea. I do have a tape measure. This is about 27. Right there. 27-inch fish. So I had mentioned on my previous video that a fish of this caliber for channel catfish is anything 26 and above. You can only keep one. So this will be my one big fish that I keep. All the other fish have to be below 26 or I cannot keep them. We're gonna go ahead and try to get this guy on the stringer and put him in the water for now. One of these days get this untangled and get him on it. That was an awesome takedown. When I looked over, my rod was so bent over. There we have it. And now he's on the stringer. All right, we're gonna get him in the water. I'm just gonna drop him in the water right here. Now these fish are pretty hardy. I mean, this guy's definitely gonna stay alive. No doubt about that. I just gotta figure out a way to keep him from stealing my stringer. And I think I have a good idea. There's a root right here. Oh yeah. Just go underneath that. Just like so. That's really all I gotta do. I'll just kind of tie it off to it a little bit. Just like this. There we go. He ain't going anywhere. As you can see, I gave him enough line so he can get down in the water column a little bit. There he is. So we'll just leave him in there for a while. Now I get to fillet a 27-inch catfish inside my apartment. Should be fun. Woo! Nice. All right. Now I got to get a hook tied back on this guy. And again, I was on the bluegill. So these fish in here are preferring the bluegill today. That's wild. Last time, every fish I caught, mind you, I didn't have bluegill last time, but they were hitting on the worms like almost immediately. And this time the worm isn't really doing it. But could just be a lot of bigger fish in here right now, maybe. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm gonna shut up now, retie my leader. It's kind of funny on that that last big fish that I caught. when I was running for the rod and the phone went flying, I literally yesterday got a new case for my phone because the one I had before was just like a silicone one. This one's like a hard plastic, so it's a little more durable. But I literally kind of envisioned that happening in my head, and that's why I wanted the new case for it. And then literally the next day I go fishing and it happens. So long story short there, I'm glad that I just upgraded the case for it. I just didn't want to lose my rod. I have had that happen before. So after looking at the regulations, I stand corrected. For channel catfish, you can only keep one fish over 28 inches. So my fish was right at about 27, so it still falls under that no limit, no size limit, no catch limit. So technically I could still keep a fish over 28 inches, only one though. And for flatheads and blue catfish, one fish over, I think it was 35 or 36 inches. Anything under that is the same. No size limit, no catch limit. I would say 10 is like my maximum. Anything over that, it's too much for me to handle where I live. I know people keep catfish, 20, 30 pounders, but I don't have any way to process that big of a fish. At least any convenient way. So honestly, that fish I have now is going to be enough trouble. I'll quit yapping at you and report back when I did something cool. Oh, I caught a fish on a lure. All right, let's see what it is. Not very big, I'll tell you that. All right. Nice little bluegill. Ate the panther martin. Cool. Well, I assume there were bluegill in here since I was catching fish on bluegill. It's a pretty good indication. Eating the live forage that's available. It is a nice looking bluegill, actually. It looks really healthy. Probably just going to let it go. Although maybe I should keep it for bait. Yeah, you know what? I probably should. I probably should keep it for bait. Maybe not for today, but for a later date. Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do, because this treble hook just destroyed his mouth anyway, so he doesn't have a great chance of living. All right. So there is at least bluegill in here, which there's probably not a body of water in Ohio that doesn't have bluegill, so no surprise there. Bluegill on the old panther martin. Not gonna lie, that fish barely could fit that treble hook in his mouth. So anything smaller than that I wouldn't be able to catch, but that's okay. Uh-oh. Might have just lost my panther martin to the tree anyways. Oh, we got it. All right. Let's see. So that bluegill was right up on the bank. I probably could be catching bluegill left and right if I was just floating a crawler by the bank, but I'm not really after them, so we'll just keep throwing the lure. If we get them as a bycatch, cool. Otherwise, I'm hoping to get something else. Oh, tree pounder. Well, I got it out. Kind of looked like my bluegill rod just got bumped a little bit. Keep an eye on that for now. Yeah, I gotta get my sunglasses. This glare is gonna destroy my eyeballs. Also, I'd like to be able to see my other rod since it's sitting right in the sun. So, let's grab those. There we go. It's a little better. Do a couple more casts over here. I threw around the Panther Martin for quite a few more casts. Didn't see any other action, so my curiosity got the best of me. I'm gonna rig up a little bluegill setup. And I'm just gonna pitch it at the bank where these fallen trees are. It'd be pretty cool if I could get into like some big bluegill, like ones that you could actually eat. So I'm gonna just test it out. Worst case, I catch a couple more for bait. So I'm just doing, I got a tiny little bait hook, very small, right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. And then we got a little split shot just up from it. This is just to keep it down the water column since the water is moving. And then I'm gonna peg a bobber, I don't know, maybe 4 feet up. It is really deep here, so I want to get it down in the water column some. And I got unlimited bobbers to choose from, so I think we're gonna go with like a more of a medium size, I guess you could say. And then I'm thinking, yeah, probably about 4 feet. We'll try that. If I don't get anything, I can always adjust it. I am going to be throwing it kind of right at the bank, so it doesn't have to be super long. But I know that it drops off relatively quickly, so I want it to be somewhat close to the bottom. And I'm going to go with a smallish piece of nightcrawler. If the bluegill can eat that Panther Martin, it should have no trouble eating this piece of nightcrawler. So let's see what happens. I'm not opposed to catching some frickin' pound bluegills. That'd be awesome. But I think I'm just going to start just by pitching it out over here where I caught the last one. Well, that appears to me to be pretty shallow because it didn't. Okay, it's a little deeper there. I'm just going to let it float around, see what happens. I'm going to try to get it closer to that down tree out there. There we go. That's what I was shooting for. That's about perfect. That's right in the area that I hooked the last one. So I imagine there's some other ones in there. Usually bluegill do not take a whole lot of time to get bit if they're, if you're throwing right into them. Could have just been one random bluegill swimming around out there too. Hard to say, but in my experience, that is usually not the case. Usually there's a few of them. No instant bite though. So there's not a giant school of them there for sure, because usually if they're there and they're eating, I mean, you're pretty much hooked up as soon as the bait hits the water. Not pulling a lot of line, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it here with the bail open. That way if something does pick it up, it doesn't rip my rod in the water. And then I want to go check my catfish rod with the nightcrawler. I don't know. I'm very puzzled because it really hasn't done anything. And that is very unlike last time. Like I said, it could just be that there's not nearly as many fish in here, or who knows, but still got good bait. I don't know. It's just not as good as it was, I guess. I'm gonna try a little bit different area. See if that changes anything. The depth seems identical, so I don't think really anything changed there. So it's still a pretty deep hole, just with how high the water was and everything. I mean, the fish could have totally repositioned. Could have been pushed down creek. Hard to say. Clearly there was still a couple up in here though, because I caught that big one and the one little guy. And I did miss another fish on the nightcrawler, unless it was the big one I ended up catching on the bluegill. But definitely still a good day of fishing nonetheless. I think if I stick it out, I can probably, I'm sure I can get into something else. Still pretty early. Last I looked it was 7:30, but that was a while ago. It's probably 8:30 right now. And I mean, I have the one 27-inch catfish, the one really small one, like 12, 13-inch catfish. And then I did catch that little bluegill that I'm going to use for bait. So, I mean, you know, not a bad day so far. So I literally just turned my camera off and I went to go reel in my pole, and this guy was on there. Tiny little guy. I am very tempted to hook this guy up as a live bait. Oh, my bluegill rod just got bumped. It's still getting bumped. So we're going to see what's going on with that. Could be a small fish just playing with it. But it definitely was getting hit. Yeah, there's nothing there. So if I catch a bluegill that's smaller than this, it is 100% going out as a live bait. Honestly, this one's probably small enough, but I would prefer a little bit. I don't know. He's literally about the best size for it. I'm gonna wait. The cut bait is working. Channel catfish, I mean, you can catch them on live bait, but I've always done best on cut bait for channels. But it also doesn't mean that there isn't like flatheads and or blues in here, which both of those are going to eat a live bluegill no problem. Especially flatheads. They prefer live bait. Oh, let's see. It was weird. I never even saw the bite on the bobber. He like ate it and was just sitting there. I just went to go reel it in to reposition it and he was on it. I guess this isn't a bad pastime though. pick up some fresh bait for future fishing adventures. I I only had one bluegill cut up and frozen into chunks, and that's what I'm catching the fish on today. So kind of was due to restock. I don't really like to have a ton of it in the freezer at once, but you know, a few fish is not bad to have on hand. Jess and I like to cut it up and have it in like a sandwich bag to where it's like just enough to go fish for a day. I used to keep it all in like a big Ziploc bag, like a, maybe not a gallon, but one of the bigger ones. And it just seemed like I would take it out, use a few pieces, and then at the end of the day, I just had this thawed bag of bluegill. And then, you know, you go to refreeze it, and it never has the good consistency after it's been frozen a couple of times. So basically, I just take like a single serve bag with me with just like, I don't know, I'll say 10 pieces max. I mean, it would kind of suck to get into like a really hot bite because you would burn through that bait pretty quickly. But at the end of the day, all it is bluegill, and like I said, just about any body of water, you can always pick up a fresh bait if you need. So I'm not too worried about it. And I just want this bobber to freaking go under and just hook a giant. That'd be so cool. I've never really caught a big bluegill. Back when I lived in California, I caught a lot of big red ear, but that's a little bit different, or shell cracker, whatever you want to call it. There was a Lake Jennings out there in California that it had so many big red ear in it. So every spring and summer, Jess and I would go out there and just catch a ton of those. But a true bluegill, honestly, that one that I just put in the cooler is about as big a one as I've caught. Not the tiny one, the bigger one. You know, maybe a 7, 8 inch fish, nothing big at all. I've seen pictures, seen videos of some big ones caught here in Ohio. I just personally have not. I tried a little bit different area for bluegill and didn't get any bites, so let me go back over here where I've caught a couple. Just gonna set it down, let it do its thing. Definitely a slower bite today. I'm considering throwing like way out here. Yeah, I really need to invest in some pole holders. Kind of eliminate this issue. This is gonna turn out to be a nice one, I think. Perfect. All right, go find a spot for it. I did see a giant hole right here. I don't know how deep it goes, but could work maybe. Yeah, I think that'll work just fine. This line is so tangled up. It's not great. All right. I'm gonna get the nightcrawler rig and put it out over this way. See how it does. Seemed like I was kind of stuck that time, which isn't great, but still got my bait. All right. Just gonna go out into the depths over here. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, it's deep out there. No doubt about it. It's even deeper than what I was fishing. That's really deep. Okay. That's perfect. Perfect little rod holder. And also the sun's to my back, so I can actually see my stuff instead of staring right at the sun. So I do like that quite a bit better. I'm going to reposition the bluegill rod too, just because kind of got some different stuff going on now. All right. It's still got bait on there. I'm going to put him kind of out in the middle there. Decent depth. Okay. All right. And I can really keep an eye on the rods a lot better. I can see the line really good. I would have a feeling that this nightcrawler one will get bit here. It's deep out there where I threw it. It's much deeper than even here where it's already pretty deep. I probably cast it into like 20 foot plus of water right now. So if I was a catfish, that's where I would be. Well, that nightcrawler I threw out into the depths out there already got some action going on. Wasn't a real big bite, but it was definitely a bite. I don't think he's there. I'm just gonna kind of leave it out there. All right, I got picked up on the nightcrawler set up out in the deep, so we're about to give him the beans here. How did I miss that? That guy was freight training with it. That's wild. Well, definitely something picked it up out there, so I guess we'll get it back out there. That fish was running with it too. And it's pretty much exactly where it was. All right. That's now the second bite that I've got in that area. I guess it could be bluegill. I don't know. I still think I would put my money on small channel just because of how deep it is. Bluegill this time of year should be pretty shallow. They got to be in some type of a spawning pattern. Another bite on the deep crawler. Seems small again though. Well, I got whatever it was that time. Definitely not big. I think it's a micro channel. Yep. That there is a baby. Some people would say that this right here is like flathead candy. That is a very small channel, but good to see. It's good to see that there's you know, future fish in the waterway. I've caught them all different sizes in here now, like literally from micro like that guy all the way to, I'm not sure if this was my biggest fish out of here or if last trip the fish was bigger, but I'm pretty confident it was this one. So 6-inch channel all the way to a freaking 27-inch channel. That's quite a spread on size. And based on how fast the bites have been out there, I have a feeling there's a bunch of them. I'm sure there's some bigger fish in the mix though, so we'll keep doing this for now. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but that big catfish I caught, I lipped it like an idiot trying to get it just out of the water real quick, and it bit down and gave me some head thrashes. It absolutely torched my finger. It looks like I've caught about 100 largemouth bass today, but nope, just one angry, pissed off catfish. I think I'm just gonna get this bluegill rod out of here. It's not really doing much except for getting in the way. I'm just gonna fish the 2 rods. I don't really generally like to throw 3 rods out unless it's 2 rods out with a lure. So I think we'll just sit back and watch the bait rods, and I'll let you know if something exciting happens. It's definitely slowed down a little bit. I just got a tiny little bump on my nightcrawler. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it's kind of the only action I've seen in a while. Doesn't really appear to be there anymore, but you never know. Could just be sitting with it. I just got off the phone with Jessica, and her and Elliot are kind of getting ready for the day, and it's still early. I don't know exactly what time it is. Let me see. I think it said 9:12. So still real early in the morning. Can't really complain for it only being 9 o'clock and already getting the action that I have. I was just very spoiled from that last trip where it was like fish after fish after fish, but that's okay. I'm thinking there's one on this nightcrawler. It's acting really funny. It's like it'll pull a little bit and then it stops. Pull a little bit and then stop. Probably just another tiny fish messing with it, but see if I feel anything. Yeah, there's something on there dicking around. I think I got whatever it was, but it's maybe? No, whatever it was came off. It had to have been tiny. I'm gonna go ahead and just get a fresh crawler because, like I said in the beginning of the day, I'm kind of trying to use them up. I don't really need to conserve them. I have literally 2 packs of older crawlers that I need to use. There, that's a nice healthy looking guy. Yeah, we'll do that. It is a big nightcrawler. Hopefully big nightcrawler, big fish. We'll see. I don't know if you guys can tell on film, but like the nightcrawler set up with the split shots, I can keep a nice bow in the line because the current isn't strong enough to pull the weights on the floor. And I kind of like that because I can see the line, and if I get bit, I have time to react. It's not like tight on the rod. But the other one, the one that's set up like a Carolina rig, what's happening is the current is pulling the bait, which isn't a bad thing because it's keeping the bait up off the bottom probably a little bit, but it keeps the line like perfectly tight consistently because the line is just sliding through the weight versus being pegged to the bottom. And so I can't really, like when I'm looking at the line, basically as soon as it gets bit, there's immediate tension on the rod. And I don't particularly like to fish that way for catfish. I like for there to be slack in the line because sometimes they can be sensitive to pressure. So I guess, oh, there was a little bite on the nightcrawler. Over here running my mouth and not paying attention. I think frickin' slammed it. I don't think it's still there, but maybe. Yeah, I think the problem I'm going to run into fishing this giant bait is that exactly. Something just grabbed it by the end and now it's gone. But anyways, what I was saying was, with that bait constantly going through the thing, I can't really watch the line. It's not a very good indication. So probably in the future, I might try like a dropper loop style, just to kind of keep it in one place. And that way I can keep a bow on the line too. I guess I could just run a split shot rig on that rod too. That's a lot heavier of a rod, so it's going to be hard to cast it just with a couple split shots on it. Hopefully some of that made sense. But I want to get this one back out there because I can't really confirm that there's any big fish in this area that I'm casting, but there's definitely a lot of fish because I've gotten multiple bites on the crawler out here. So far they all seem real small, but that's kind of how it was going last time. And then all of a sudden, boom, I caught a big one. So I'm not too concerned. I just probably have to weed through the little guys. Man, it's freaking deep out there though. All right, let's see. Now that the sun's up, it's definitely warming up a bit. Pretty sure I already got bit on the crawler. There must just be a bunch of little fish out there in that area. I'll give it a little bit, see if I get. Yep, it's already getting bit. Again, not very big, but either got the bait off of it already or it dropped it, one of the two. It really hit it that hard, so I'm just going to assume that it's dropped it. Leave it out there for a little bit longer. Now we're kind of getting into that fast action again. It's just nothing of size yet. Oh, yeah, I just got bit again. I don't know if you can see that on film, but like my line it's got it, or it did. I think I caught it. Yeah, it's tiny. So that's what's going on. There's a hole of, oh, this is actually a bluegill. How funny. Man, you would not expect these bluegill to be out there. Well, he's bleeding profusely, so I think we'll just add him to the bait pile. I'm getting a nice little stockpile of bluegill for bait. Might as well get a fresh crawler on here and get back out there. All right. I'd like to catch a couple like 2 or 3 pounders. That's the size that I like to catch and keep. They're good eating and they're easy to manage as far as processing them. and they fight really good because they're still decent size. They're just not monsters. But I guess if I have to catch another giant, I will. Shoot, at this point, I'm pretty content with catching 6-inch fish and just letting them go. I'm not really picky when it comes to fishing. There's a video that will be coming out where, oh, you know what? I actually didn't record that. Well, I took a little work intermission. Well, not a work intermission. I wasn't working, but I went over to Seneca sometime this past week, and I was catching crappie, literally one after the other. Every cast, as long as you landed the cast in the right spot, I was catching crappie. But none of them were any big. Probably the biggest fish I caught was 8 or 9 inches. So of course I was just releasing all of them. They have to be 9 inches to keep, and I don't really like to keep them unless they're like 9.5, 10, because otherwise there's not really much meat on them. Like a fish right at 9 inches, yes, it's legal, but in my opinion, it doesn't really, you don't get a whole lot off of it. So kind of just killing a fish for no reason. But I mean, I've kept them before. If you get a bunch of them, you know, you can get some meat off of them. But anyway, generally the bigger the crappie, the better, in my opinion. But so yeah, I guess the reason I was saying all that is not super picky. If I'm catching, I'm pretty happy. Getting a little more action on the nightcrawler again. Appears to be of the small variety again, but never know, I guess. Seems like it has it right now. Oh, it came off. Oh wait, no it didn't. It is not small, in fact. This is not a small fish. I don't know how big it is, but it's definitely not small. It was just swimming at me. Oh boy. He's swimming right at the bank. What are you doing, fish? Okay. Well, I think I hooked that 2-pounder that I was talking about. Yeah, that's a good size one right there. I'm only running 6-pound test line on this rod, but I should be able to flip this guy in. Yep, that's a good one. Perfect little fish for the stringer. I mean, I don't know, maybe 2 pounds, something like that. Yeah, that's a good one. He absolutely swallowed the bejesus out of it. So and we're just going to cut and retie and be the best bet for him. Yeah, not a bad fish at all. 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds probably. This one is big enough to where I should probably put him on the stringer with his brother. The other one's so small, I don't know if it'll really work out the way I would expect it to. This one will, though. It's not a bad fish. I mean, compared to the other one on here, he's not very big, but it's definitely not a small fish. Yeah. And that other one's big. Yeah, those are good. Those are good ones. All right. Oh, you know what? Let me just grab that other one out of there. Seems kind of silly because it's not very big, but it's whatever. We'll put him on. He's still alive, so guess that's probably a little more humane anyways. There. That fish literally could swim off right now. That's crazy. They're such a hardy fish. Little stringer catfish. Heck yeah. All right. Oh, we got that squared away. Throw my rag on the ground. That's good. All right. Check my leader. It's pretty chafed up. Just gonna cut it. Slide the weights up a bit and retie. That's the thing about that I've noticed about in this creek is even if you're only catching little ones, don't be afraid to fish it for a while. Because, I mean, I caught 6-inch channel cats out of here just now. And I also caught a 27-incher. And then that, like, 2-pounder. So, I mean, it's like, it's not consistent with size. So, I mean, don't be discouraged if you're only catching small fish at first. I think you'll be surprised that there's a lot of big fish mixed in with the little ones. So I got another hook tied on and we're good as new. I tend to just buy cheap hooks because I usually end up going through a lot of them with my technique, as you can see. I can justify it by using cheap hooks. It doesn't really bother me. Obviously, when I go and clean the fish, if the hook is able to be retrieved, and honestly, they rarely fail me. I've never really had an issue with them. I mean, I caught a 27-inch catfish on it, so they'll never let me down so far. All right. So we got that one back out. See if we can get another. I was messing with my phone and the nightcrawler rod got bit pretty good. I was actually just about to set a timer or set an alarm just so I kind of keep a track of time a little bit better. And then I look over and this thing's just getting slammed. But I don't know if it's there. We're going to check right now and see. Nah, it kind of feels like it. Oh, no, it's there. Got it. Whatever it is. Not very big. Definitely a small fish. A little bluegill again. What are these guys doing out there? I don't get it. And they're choking this bigger hook too. No? Another one for the bait supply. What I was gonna do is set an alarm. It's like 9:44 right now. I was gonna set it for maybe like, I don't know, 10:30 or 11. I just don't want to get home super late today. We might go out again after I kind of get all the fish cleaned up and showered myself and whatnot. So I don't want to spend all day out here. But I mean, it's still pretty early, obviously. So I'm going to fish maybe another hour or so and see what else I can get into. It's baffling to me to be catching 4-inch bluegill, but also 27-inch catfish in the same vicinity. Like, you would think those bluegill would want to be nowhere near where these cats are, but I don't know. Maybe the channels don't mess with them. I wouldn't think that they would leave them alone, but maybe they do. I know certainly a blue or a flathead catfish would eat the shit out of those, so kind of makes me think there isn't really any of those in here, because these bluegills being in 10, 15, 20 feet of water out in the middle of the channel on the bottom, it just, to me, that just sounds like suicide for them. But I don't know, maybe they were just adapted to it and they can get away from them, or who knows. I could just be overthinking it too, but logically it doesn't make any sense to me. I will say it's getting kind of hot and sticky out here. It's I'd imagine it's probably in the 70s only, creeping up on 80 maybe, but there's absolutely no wind, no breeze at all. I mean, the water is literally glass, which, I mean, for catfishing with light tackle is pretty ideal, but for standing here in pretty much the direct sunlight, it's not ideal. I'd imagine the bite for catfish will probably die off in the midday anyways. Probably wouldn't pick back up until late afternoon. Otherwise, I'm going to call it a successful day. I mean, I kind of got 3 different calibers of fish. I got a small catfish, a little bit bigger catfish, that like 2-pounder, and then what I would consider a pretty decent sized channel catfish, 27 inches. I don't know the weight exactly, but it's definitely under 5, but I would say under 10. So maybe 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. I will, I'm going to see if I have a scale at home that I could throw it on just to see an exact weight. But if anybody has any idea, go ahead and comment it down there in the comments. I've caught a lot of catfish. I don't really weigh them that often, so I'm just kind of guessing, but I don't think it's a 10. I know what a 10 kind of looks like, but I've caught a lot of 5s in my day too, and that one feels slightly bigger, so I would give it the 6 to 8 range. What I'm probably going to do is bring in the rod that has the bluegill, get that kind of broken down, taken apart, and then I need to dispatch and bleed these catfish. Something I've really never done in the past was bleed fish, but I don't know. I always hear that it's supposedly really good to do for the quality of the meat, but honestly, primarily the reason that I want to do it is I'm thinking that it'll make much less of a mess at home if these fish aren't full of blood. So probably going to be doing that off camera. Everything that I've read and from other people I watch on YouTube, YouTube is not a fan of blood. So in the event that I ever make it big enough to monetize on here, I would rather just get in the habit now of not showing it. So sorry if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, but basically all I'm going to do is bonk the fish, kind of kill it essentially, and then I'm going to cut its gills and just let it bleed out. And then I'll throw it in my cooler, probably pick up this other rod and be on my way. But I will talk to you guys in a bit after I've done all that. I wanted to give you guys one last look at the fish before I do the deed. I'm going to check my rod real quick. Nope, hasn't done anything that I can tell. Oh, the wind just picked up, actually. All right. I'm gonna walk these fish like a dog down the bank here. Take them over to this area where I can access them a little bit better. Oh, the fish picked up some salad down there. Oh, some line too. Lovely. All right. So that's what we got here. We got small, medium, and large. All right, I'm gonna dispatch these guys, get them bled, and then get them in the cooler. All right, I got all the rods taken apart. I got the fish bled out. They're in the cooler now. Pretty much a wrap. Still a really nice day out here. It's getting warm, and we got some other stuff we want to do today, so I'm gonna go ahead and load in the car and probably hit the road and head home. All right, I'm in the car. I'm gonna be turning on the AC. Only about 15-20 minutes to home, but then I still have a lot of work to do. I gotta process all 3 catfish. Hopefully it should be a little bit of a cleaner process this time because I have them all bled out. The 2 little fish didn't really have a lot of blood. That big fish had a lot of blood. It was bleeding out for a while. Thanks for watching. I feel like it was a pretty decent trip. Got 2 good fish, 1 little guy just to throw in there, and then I think a handful of bluegills, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6. But that's good because I can stock up for bait for next trip, whether it's out here or maybe like Seneca. I don't know. It just kind of depends. But thanks for watching. I'm gonna get cooled off and head home.